The Dread Vampire Roberts takes no survivors. Yes, I did spend huge amounts of money on eggs for this clown in order to try to goose my odds of getting the plus 999% luck that I needed for something. So, hey, cool, I managed to wreck another character, but this is not one that I'm going to play. And by wreck, I mean, obviously, it's a bit of a stretch to say that, but jacking those numbers up does tend to result in some very monstrously silly things. In fact, before I show off any of the new DLC stuff, I'm going to show that off real quick on the character that I have definitely fed the most eggs to. Yeah, 8,332. What the hell was I thinking? Anyway, let's take a quick look here at where the hell am I going to start? Tower, I guess. Just something a little bit here. And blah, blah, blah. I could probably skip all this stuff. But look at what the hell has happened here. Like, this is a problem. Also, God, that volume is a lot higher than I need it to be. So on my end, it's like just kind of awful. It's just like things, I guess. I'm going to mute that on the desktop audio for a second because God knows I thought I had the volume down low. All right. Let's dial those sound effects down further. 42 now. Well, congratulations. Anyhow, yes, you can see we literally did like nothing and we hit level something. 14. Yeah, in 3 seconds. This has turned into a huge disaster. Everything is like massive AoEs. The sheer amount of mobs that spawn in, it's become even sillier than it possibly was. If that were a possibility, in fact. So, yeah, I have to admit I'm a little bit more of a fan of going with not nearly so many eggs. Let me dial that volume up just a tiny bit. God, it gets so loud, though. Like, I guess part of that is also because, like, clearly this game is very heavily based on gambling machines. I mean, Ponkel did work in gambling machines before actually making this game and kind of went, wow, this shit's fucked up, but people really seem to like it. What if I do that, but without the life-ruining debt things? Which I kind of respect the hustle a little bit. So the main thing I'm going to do here today is I'm going to show off the 4 characters from the Balatro DLC because I got that. There's a couple of extra characters that have been added to the Castlevania DLC, which I think is cool. They added some shit afterwards. We've got the fake trio here, which is a reference to the characters from Vampire Survivors itself that are references to Castlevania characters. Actrice, who is from the first N64 Castlevania game. I gotta remember, they are 2 different games. And some other characters that I don't know Castlevania very well. I've been meaning to get around to playing one of those on the channel at some point, but I was the dipshit who was like, no, I'm going to play Phantasy Star 2 instead. There's a good reason why I'm doing that, I swear. Anyway. Jimbo, here he is. Jimbo Joker from our good friend Balatro. There he is, the main character, avatar guy. Obviously, Balatro doesn't have like a story or real characters as such, but this was sort of in the tutorial that the regular Joker card just sort of introduces itself as Jimbo, and that becomes a bit of a naming theme. So, a little bit of a fun thing. For a while, I had been thinking about this idea of like building some sort of roguelike RPG, and one of the options of a late game boss was going to, if not actually be Jimbo Joker for obvious reasons, because hey, I wouldn't legally be able to do that if I were to ever create this game. Although, who knows, maybe I'd be able to show it to Local Thunk and be like, hey, yeah, can I have this dude as a boss? Because I think it would be a funny goof, and I don't know, we can have some sort of crossover shit here. If this game were ever to be developed, which, you know, look at me ever getting anything done. But the idea was going to be that he would be like in the part 3 Dio pose where he's facing away from the camera and, well, camera air quotes, and his face is all covered up and like just sort of looking menacing, because I thought that would be really funny to be like, hey, here's just this random generic, literally just a Joker off a deck of cards, and he's this strong, badass looking guy who will absolutely annihilate you by pulling a royal flush out of his ass. I thought it was funny. Unfortunately, I'd have to actually commit to something like that and keep the part in my head that's like, hey, having an idea for this long that sounds good. And I'm not really capable of that very much. But here he is, playable. The Jester Man himself. He's got some interesting stuff on his little table here, because our man Jimbo is relying very heavily on a new mechanic that was added for the Anti-Chamber DLC called Cervero. Obviously, it's like a pun between Survivor and Tarot. I'm probably just going to call them cards. So he can always find them, which otherwise they're usually only on the Anti-Chamber map. And he starts off with a pick of one for free. They scale according to your level, so his scale up faster, and that's his gimmick. And of course, in order to show him off, we're going to head over to the Balatro themed map, the Anti-Chamber. They aren't bluffing, so play your cards right or the joke will be on you. Yes, yes, we love bad jokes. And yeah, the music here is a pretty fun little sort of semi-metal version remix of the usual theme that you get during Balatro. That wonderful piece of music. I think this is a pretty good remix, all considered. I've heard some very good remixes of it on the YouTubes. I've heard some very bad remixes of it. So, bit of a mixed bag whenever that idea comes up. So what do we get here? Each of these cards, we can choose one. Each gives us some stat variations. And usually we'll get something that grows as we gain levels. So, for example, we can pick Domario here, and we get stats kind of similar to what he usually has as a regular survivor, where he has increased duration and projectile speed, but reduced movement speed. For those of you who may not remember all the default characters in Vampire Survivors, because all the DLC characters have ended up being more powerful, he's the one who starts with the Bible, and he's also slow as shit, like, you know, walking with broken legs kind of level here. But he's pretty strong, and his thing lasts for a while, so hard necessarily to complain about how it works. It's just sort of a stand your ground a little bit character until you can get the ball rolling. And instead, we've got our other options here. We've got some buttons we can click, and I'll show those off in a minute. Pascalina giving an extra revive. Can gain 10% duration every 5 levels for a max of 3 times. This is a thing to pay note to, is that sometimes these are limited, which is usually not horrible. So ultimately, she would eventually give us Domario's buffs without the movement speed loss. But it would take time for us to get there, and until then, we'd have just a revival. So legitimately just a more powerful card on the base. After defeating a set amount of enemies, we get free revives. This isn't really bad, actually, because I do kind of like having certain things that stack revives if we're able to. Over here, Yada Cavallo, giving us just some greed to start with and some extra amount every 10 levels, which is quite strong by itself. Sir Ambrosio over here is going to give us a very interesting thing, because he starts off with plus 10 amount. And that sounds really amazing, but just like the character himself, you lose it over a course of a certain number of levels. In this case, 9 levels later, you're going to have lost that buff, but you are going to retain the ability to gain up to 50% magnet. So, big meh. I'm going to click boost. Now, boost spends some of our gold coins, of which we are still, like, grotesquely over amounted because of Colin the Caterpillar, or whatever the hell his name was. Sammy, I think? Oh god, I just realized I forgot to post this one place. Hold up. 1 second, everybody. And I will take a read of the rest of our cards here real quick. Okay, so what do we start with here? We got Pecorina here with giving us a default plus 20% area, gain plus 1% duration every level. That is uncapped, so that's kind of cool. And our random bonus from the foil effect here grants 1 gold coin after defeating a set amount of enemies. We don't really need that. We do not need money. And honestly, Jimbo doesn't really do a whole lot with that, so meh. Over here, Mortaccio starts with some bonus curse, which might not be such a good thing to grab at level 1. But he starts gaining plus 1 amount every 10 levels, up to a max of 3. Gain plus 1 passive weapon slot after gaining a set amount of gold. I actually kind of think that might be pretty good. On the other hand, we have other ways of getting those, so not so much of an issue. Clarici gives us some massive area bonus to start with, but it decays just like the Ambrosio. Some bonus recovery, starts gaining movement speed every few levels. Gets a pretty nice buff from Overheal. For those of you who may not remember, that is the Ice Breath effect. Our Polychrome over here, we double our starting buffs. Unfortunately, this first Polychrome is Porta Ladonna, who loses her starting buff over a few levels. So ultimately, this is not that helpful, although minus 180 cooldown, that's tremendous. Conchetta gets larger area every level. With this counting for 4 levels, and Jimbo's bonus, I think it's like either 8 or 9 levels that you gain per level, so this would be a good way to gain shitloads of area. But I don't think I necessarily need that. Lama Ladonna gets some armor and might to start with, and starts gaining curse over time. Plus 1 armor after defeating a set amount of enemies. This is not really a bad thing either to pick up. And lastly, we have Bianca Ramba, who gains amount over time and starts off with bonus growth, which is actually just sort of making me think, yeah, just straight up do that. And in fact, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take you first, and we can pick this item up. The Outer Saboteur is an item that you are able to pick up once you start collecting the weapons from Antechamber, in order to evolve any of the 4 Balatro-themed weapons. You need to max that thing out too. Oh, that sound effect is much quieter than I thought. I'm going to... God, there really isn't a good way to set those values, though, unfortunately. I don't really like any of the stuff that I've got here. I need to cull my weapon set a little better at some point. The main thing that I've actually bothered to do with any of that is to disable the Amogus weapons, because I find that most of them are, like, just huge jank. Anyway, one of the nice upsides here to our Holy heck, do I know what words are? The answer is no. Yeah, there was some sort of change I was going to mention, and now I've forgotten what it is, because I'm very, very, very clever like that. Oh, wait, no, the other thing. Alright, so librarian should be up there. Yeah, and Big Trouser's there as well. We're going to pick up Sword Brothers. I got something I'd like to show off. But we'll see if I get to. We may, in fact, not get to. So, this weapon, as you can see, the score box that is called Balatro, I believe. Yeah. Probably pronounced differently, but I'm not trying that hard. It's pretty neat. Right now, very simple. Just sort of thing that fires out decently in front of you and flips through enemies, deals damage. The number increases as you go. It gets a little bigger each time, I think. But not a ton. We're going to leave that silver box for now, because it being a silver chest means that there is a distinct possibility that we could use that to get a weapon upgrade. Oh yeah, I think I was going to adjust the volume on the sound effects, but goodness knows I don't want them to be too loud. We'll take that, because Sanctuary is pretty strong when we manage to get to that level of evolution. Now, let's make sure we pick this up, because we get a couple of those as freebies from our Hail from the Future. I think the limit that you can get is 7 bonus Armadillos per level. So that's neat. The Outer Saboteur, by the way, what it does is that in order to do its thing, it will spend your money as you pick it up. So basically, a big thing to know is that the local clowns are not great characters to use for grinding cash, but we already have the ultimate in cash grinding characters anyway, by virtue of the fact that we have Sammy the guy. Sammy Gravano or something. Do I look like I know anything? And the answer to that question should be absolutely the hell not. Like, why would you assume that I know anything? Don't be ridiculous. I am, of course, waiting around to get a specific weapon for that last weapon slot, and the game does not want to show it. This is why once you start unlocking large amounts of seal effects, it's a good idea to start culling certain parts of your weapon set that you don't think are like all that good. Stuff that you don't like using, or stuff that just feels underpowered or outclassed, or hell, just set it up so that way you have only a few specifically set weapons to go with your main or something. you know, use the resources to your advantage, cause you have the resources to use to your advantage. The game gives you all these things, you may as well at least do something with them, right? The answer is, yeah, probably. That doesn't sound like such a bad idea anyway. On paper. Yeah, it's a wood chest, so we can take that with impunity. Keep leveling up our lightning ring. Oh, yeah, here comes the big lag spike because we must have just hit a gold finger. Gold finger! Wait, no, sorry, that's something else. And yeah, free silver chest. Do we have... Okay, we do have level 8 lightning rings, so we can take this and we get that upgrade to the Thunder Loop. Hell yeah. We don't have enough money, pardon me. Well, that might be true. Can we level up the... Can we level up the speed boost? We might be able to level up the speed boost now. Because we have that maxed out. Ooh, Flames of Misspell, that's... Yeah, actually, I'm going to take that. I was originally holding out for something else, but... I will use that anyway. That's pretty okay. And our Outer Saboteur is maxed out. Let's go pick up this chest, and what do we get? Rapidus Fio. Yeah, there's our Sonic Dash evolution. This weapon is one that I usually have banned because it fucks with the game a little bit for me. I find that it causes a lot of issues, to be quite frank. Okay, so for Armadillo, we're going to pick up an Attract Orb, actually, because the odds of us getting things that scale off of revives are quite low. Ooh, free card. What do we got? I'm going to just take the unupgrade Arca Ladona because of the ability to gain more cooldown reduction over time. Okay, what's your... Yeah, that's got to be getting pretty close to max at level 8, so definitely pretty close to done there. Yeah, give me those red EXP gems. That's right, game. Let's start cranking these numbers up much harder. Come on, we're playing a Balatro guy in Vampire Survivors. We need numbers that hurt the brain to think about. That's right. Yeah, so this one's based on the Ox. At least visually. I don't know that this is, like, actually does anything particularly Ox-like mechanically, but... it's been a a minute since I've really paid that close of attention to it. Oh, heck yeah. Look at all that shit that just rained down for us. Nice. Although, granted, a large part of it was just vacuums, and I don't know that we need that many in a row. The die, by the way, will give us a free reroll. Just one for the run. It's not a permanent effect. So don't start thinking that that's some sort of broken thing. Honestly, I think the fact that they're stuck in the loop, the roll for Hail from the Future items kind of sucks, but that's mostly because I'd rather have other things. And there we go. NANE Inferno. Yes. So check this out. If you are able to do the right movement patterns, you can get them to lock together, and it'll turn into some very fun little Balatro math that is not really how it works in the game because, well, I guess you could get to that point, but also the E number goes over 100, which is not a thing in base Balatro. If you install some mods, you will get there. Also, yeah, if you hit a certain point, it'll give you that NANE infinite message. So I guess I can finally say that I've actually hit NANE in Balatro. It's just that I've never done it in the actual game, just in this. And we're going to take us some garlic, because that's just kind of a staple. Oh shit, 2 candy boxes in a row. You are spoiling me, game. Let's grab that pentagram, even though we're not popping the immediate activation. That's a shame. Yeah, Pugnala can be our choice there for the extra damage as we gain levels. Hey, yes. I didn't even realize we were there. So, as always, my build for this usually is Dark 10, Dark 12, and then 8. Since, ultimately, we're not that deep into a run where I care that much to be like, oh yeah, Crystal Christ isn't going to do shit for me anymore. This is more than good enough where we're at. At least on a purely theoretical level. On the other hand, we are absolutely cooking right now. I'm going to go and find the items here myself. I may, in fact, just end up, if I do this right, I may just skip out entirely on getting the card 8 and go for just whatever else seems good at the time. Yes, here's what I wanted to show off with grabbing Sword Brothers and Thunderloop, is that a lot of the Castlevania weapons have new union effects. So we get the Vijaya sisters here. Now, thankfully, unlike the one that I'm more familiar with, this doesn't spend 10,000 gil every time you attack. But it creates these massive damage zones that also provide you with some invincibility. I'm not completely certain of the mechanics on it, other than that it does all that. But just a nice little upgrade. Plus, yeah, since they're firing off with where the Thunder Loop is, it's a pretty good unified weapon. Like, at times it is very possible to look at a weapon union and be like, oh, that doesn't do everything the original two do. That kind of sucks. But this is definitely not one of those cases. At least not for me. Pick that up. And of course we get the ones that give us curse first, because I cannot keep that. I can't keep that straight. I can't keep anything straight. Blah, blah, blah. Easy jokes. as our limit break is steadily, like, ranking our weapons up a little too high. Ooh, something dropped a chest. I'll go back for that in a moment. After I go get this thing. And of course, this would be a bit more of a pain in the butt if we had to actually follow the map properly, but because I have Rapidus Fio and that item just kind of breaks the game over its knee like a dry twig. Walls basically don't exist as far as we're concerned. Like, shit. Off we go. On a journey of discovery. Ooh, silver chest. Give me an upgrade to Sanctuary. Oh, dang. Yeah, I forgot how strong the upgrade Sanctuary is. And all you have to do for it is take the Clover, a thing that I guess people probably assume to be, like, underpowered or something. Yeah. So, to be perfectly honest with you, I feel that Jimbo's weapon is a little bit of a letdown here. Not because it's bad, and it's fine. It's just that using the evolved form is very awkward. And let me explain a thing that you all probably are already very aware of, how sometimes something that's perfectly fine can, like, suddenly turn into a bit of a, well, that's a big bummer after you, if you cannot use it to its fullest. And it can be very easy to ignore things like that. People judging power levels on things in games tend to have a very special sort of issue with that. A big one is, like, anytime you see in Magic discourse, of course being a bad term for it, but whenever they spoil the new cards for a set and they'll have an artifact that can be activated for a certain amount of generic mana, like, let's say that it costs 3 to cast and 2 to activate. Somebody will be like, oh, that's 5 mana for the effect. No, it's not, you stupid dipshit. Like, technically, yes, it is. But you're not paying it all at the same time. The point is, you're setting up to be able to pay only 2 mana for something later. And that can, in fact, be perfectly fine. Especially when there's no limitations on what you need to have to be able to use it. So, to me, NANE Inferno just kind of feels a little bit like that, where it's like, okay, this is fine, but using it to its fullest potential feels kind of like butt to try to do. And that'll screw up your ability to perceive whether or not something is actually good. Holy hell, that's a lot of cards that are scattered everywhere. Unfortunately, they don't appear on my compass. I have to keep checking the map to be able to find these. And of course I'm going to come in here and get these because, hey, that's just free stats, right? It's gain +2 recovery. Okay, it is capped, unfortunately. Starts gaining strength, gains growth, gains an additional +1 growth per level. I think I'm going to take that. Although over here we've got, so because inverse cards, we have only just seen these. They invert most starting bonuses, and accumulating them reduces enemies' buffs, because you can see they gain buffs from the amount of these Servaro cards you pick up. So in this case, Christine Divine starts with very little bit of debuffs for you, but you also gain free skips and you gain luck every 5 levels. But in this case, this is just a major boost because we gain the buffs back, but the enemy is weakened. So I'll take a look at everybody else too and see if there's part of me that's like, hey, yeah, I'd rather have something else. And in this case, we're going to just take that and off we go. Let me pick up the card. I might be going a little fast here. You know, just a little. If I want to increase it even more, I could take Croce with us. Jim Croce. No, that's completely different. Yeah, reroll. We have grotesque amounts of money, so I'm perfectly fine doing anything like that. Gain 0.5 thorns after gaining a set amount of damage. That seems neat. Unfortunately, it does slow us down. Yeah, oh, yes. Oh, more might upgrades. We'll take that for sure. And pad that out even more with extra strength from that thing. Hey, we're back to seeing level up screens. Wow, isn't that incredible? And the answer there is, I mean, arguably. Okay. What do we got? We have some not really super useful cards to start with, so we do a reroll. Gain Anima of Mortaccio after 80 levels. Ooh, I mean, hey, free extra weapon. That could be neat. Yeah, I'm taking the Mortaccio here. A little bit of free amount. 20% curse isn't gonna, like, have a real effect on us, honestly. And we'll start taking some more area of effect bonus here. Okay, so this time I'm gonna actually look at some of my more unusual stuff I've got here. Generate explosions when they expire. I mean, Twilight Requiem does affect 2 of our main weapons here, so that could be decent. Cooldown of the listed weapons reduces while moving. Losing health. Are we even losing health? Now let's take a reroll instead. Oh yeah, let's take Wicked Season just for the fun factor of the stupidity that can result in terms of numbers. There are more cards in the map. There's still a couple more out there we can get. Oh shit. Don't forget about our items. Yeah, thankfully this map feels a little bit smaller than the other one, the Castlevania one. I mean, also a little bit more than the Saga Frontier is not really correct, because that's the full name of the series. But the Saga map was pretty big and very multi-area. Yeah, we'll take the wand. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it will upgrade pretty quickly. And it synergizes with the thing we already have, so, like, hard to complain about that, right? Pick up the card, please. Reroll. Okay, yeah, that just doubles our starting bonuses. I mean, that's a good chunk of growth, but... Overheal to gain a reroll. Don't really need that. Okay, yeah, I think we can gain another 80 levels in this block of time, surely. That seems quite doable. That seems perfectly plausible. Even. Which I'm surprised to be able to say that. Ilya, do you believe that? Yes, actually. Holy shit, the amount of candy boxes that are dropping here. Like, dang. I don't usually get this much gear unless I'm on the Castlevania map, really. Of course, the downside here is that I do have to, like, go back and forth for it a lot, because I was the goofus who was like, yeah, I don't need to take the attraction thing. That won't come in handy at any point, ever. Yeah, there we go. Right. Oh. The music just died because of us being in Goldfinger territory. Well, Silverfinger. Guys, I think all we did was just kill the music with all the fucking noises. We did it. We ruined everything. Hooray! Takes real skill to cause a game this many problems. Ooh, Crimson Shroud. Not sure that's the one I wanted first, but hey. I'll take it anyway. Where's... There we go. And take that thing. Okay, what do we get card-wise here? On revive triggers rapid fire. We probably don't need to worry about revives, really. What are you? Oh, yeah. Counts for extra levels. Okay. It's 5 cooldown. I mean, we could take Arca again, I guess, if we want. But this Bianca upgrade will get us more weapons if we manage to get that many levels, which seems fully plausible, actually, so... Oh, I was really hoping for multiple upgrades, but I don't know if they do that anymore. Unless you get maybe a gold chest. Those are obscenely rare. Unsurprisingly. Yeah, I'm at such a point, I'm gonna jack the speed up all the way. That's right, make this even more ridiculous. As if it needs to help, right? But if nothing else, this should help advance us to the next, there we go, there's our shopping cart upgrade. Our carrozza. Waiting to see some, I'm just at least hoping to get to another chest enemy, because, yeah. There we go. And upgrade our last weapon. Yeah, our spinning laser's going. Yes, this is probably one of my favorite weapons in the game, the Furaragi. It does a lot of work. I mean, granted, you also kind of have to keep your number of revives up, which can be a pain in the butt. But if you pull that off, it is quite potent. I just find it very funny, by the way, that the music is broken now, because, like, we've pushed this game too far, and it's just like, hey, F you. No more music for you. Enjoy no fun allowed zone times. Oh, I was gonna say, where's our Reaper hanging out at? Because there he is. Okay, he is there. And we killed him. It just took us a moment for all the triggers to proc. And yep. No escape from getting eliminated. What do you think this is? Endless mode? Hooray! We get some money that we really don't need. What should we earn out of that? 240,000. That's kind of silly considering what little we did there. And I guess we can take a quick look here and see what our winner for DPS here was. Sanctuary doing the most total damage with Infinite Corridor, unsurprisingly having the highest DPS, because that was also doing a bunch of work on the Reaper and so on. So that's one character. I'm going to show off the other three. And we're probably going to do it on different maps this time because, as you might have noticed, the Balatro map isn't like the most interesting thing in the world. So they only give us 4 characters with this, which, I mean, hey, it's free. They give us a map. They had some other updates. There's online co-op now, apparently, which is pretty cool. I haven't checked it out, though, so couldn't tell you if it's actually good, but conceptually, I like that. But on the other hand, there is probably this part of me that's like, I mean, that still feels like less content than the Emerald Diorama one, but they added a bunch of shit to Castlevania. And mostly I'm just saying because, like, hey, we're missing 2 of the legendary Jokers as characters, and I would love to have those. But we're going to start here with Kanyo instead. Using skip while leveling up has a chance to trigger a Severo draft for his effect. And he starts with a weapon called the Fibonacci Spritz, I believe. I'll find that out in a second. But first, we're going as usual to Castlevania because that's a map that is loaded with stuff. So, why the shit not, right? Get to go look over the other screen and see, like, everybody's starting to stream on stuff. And as before, we take Hail from the Future, but this time we are immediately going just straight into the highest speed possible. Now, I do not for the life of me remember what half of the passive weapons are required to actually level like any of my stuff up are, so that will be fun, I'm sure. They are called passive weapons, I think. Yeah. Which is weird because I probably would not regard them with the term weapon, but that's just me. When I'm thinking about the cross weapon, I just think about how sane this game started out in terms of the amount of anything we had. And now look at this ridiculousness. What the hell? This game, things have gotten very silly very quickly, but oh well. That's hardly a real complaint. Now, Kanyo does feel a little bit slow moving. I don't know if it's just me, but he does kind of feel a little bit on the pokier side. Maybe it's representative of the fact that he's so awkward to use. Oh, damn it. I did not need to pick this up so soon, but we'll take the Pomerola anyway, because that's not a bad thing to have more of. Take the Duplicator to be able to upgrade our Trident later. Now, as always, I am holding out hope to start getting my twin guns on, which is why I haven't bothered to grab a 6th weapon and take the candy box yet. Because I also can't guarantee that I'll get another one of those. Although, last run we did see a truly hilarious amount of them, but that's not every day you get that. The Fibonacci Spritz is an interesting weapon. It has a chance of triggering your other weapons off cooldown. Depending on what level it's at, how many of them will trigger if it procs. I don't know what the proc chances are, so don't ask about if it's terribly efficient or not. For all I know, it might have a chance of, like, not really. It could be like the odds of anything happening in Dead Estate, really, but we'll set that part aside for a moment. Because that's later in the show, everybody. For now, we still got several of these jokers to show off. And that nomenclature isn't even a joke this time. It wouldn't be a particularly good joke even if it was, but I digress. Yeah, I'll take Pentagram. That's fine. That's not the one I want to take right now, but it will do. I guess you can just take one of the guns and I can be like, yeah, surely my luck will turn around in that regard eventually. Right? Right. Except for when it inevitably does not, but I digress. Ooh, good time for that to be a guarantee, an actual success. So that's nice. It's probably a little soon to take this too, but I'm sure it'll work out fine. And then like a minute later, it hasn't worked out fine! Because that's how it usually goes, really. Yeah, we still have a whole other item slot there. Yeesh. I didn't even realize. I didn't think that through. I did not notice. So it was even more way too early for us to grab that. Funny how that works out. Just say it works out badly. Or at least in the sense of like, oh, Delia, you're really dumb. You fool. Why have you done this to yourself? And the answer is, 'cause of the same reasons as usual. Yeah, so if you see more pentagrams pop off than usual, then that is the Fibonacci Spritzer doing its job, I guess. Oh, yeah. Don't take it yet. We don't need it yet because we still have another passive slot. Ooh, alright. Just burn down most of my rerolls. Get all the way to the bottom of the deck in order to find Crystal Cries. Thank you, game. Thank you, game. That's some really funny business you've got going on there. Some real humorous bones. The gameplay on the Balatro map is... It's fairly simple. There aren't really the kind of like warps or anything that you have on the other maps, the other more recent DLC maps, because it seems to be a lot smaller. There's not a lot of items on there. I'll show the map again in a few minutes, and by a few minutes I mean when I finish either succeeding at this run or dying, both of which are distinct possibilities at any point. In place of the amount of passive items there are on here, on like the Castlevania or Emerald Diorama, there are instead the they are basically cards that give you some passive bonuses that are called Servaro. I showed them off. God, I don't think we're going to get a chance to really show them off with this guy, although I could try skipping a few levels and see if that actually gives us a chance here. Yeah, so under certain conditions, you'll get these special cards, and they are all based on the existing characters, and they'll give you certain bonuses depending on which one you take. I admit that I'm going through this in a very, like, fast-moving way, because I did explain this earlier. Yeah, unfortunately, the DLC for this is a little bit smaller compared to some of the others, but it is free, so obviously I'm going to cut Ponkle some slack, and also because I am an annoying person who is a huge fan of Balatro. The one thing that I will say that I'm quite sad about is that there are only the 4 extra characters that were added for the Balatro DLC, and 2 of the legendary Jokers do not get characters. I just think it would be cool to have all of them get a character. You know, immediately after I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'll cut some slack. That's the one thing that I'm a little sad about. But I will say this, that at the same time that the Balatro DLC dropped, we did also get a couple of things that were added to the main game. Like, they added a map and I think 3 characters? I didn't do the math on this one because I'm dumb. I forgot already. And then there's a large amount of new stuff that's added to the Castlevania DLC. Yes, that is what I was going to get around to, is that there was an update to the Castlevania DLC that honestly was probably about as much shit as the Saga DLC by itself. Okay, not quite that much, but it was a good chunk. There's a lot of new characters that they added. They added some pretty fun new Union weapons for all the Librarian weapons. And quite a few of those are very, very good. So, like, how much complaint can I really give? And again, these are free updates. Also, I just think it's kind of nice for any developer to be like, hey, we added more content to the DLC as just an extra thing, because DLC always is like associated with a lot of more sleazy business practices, and you know, the larger, more moneyed part of the game industry being shitheads. So again, nice to see that going on, right? That makes me quite happy. Sadly, no Demon Finger for us, so no free weapon upgrade yet. But I know where we can get one of those. Oh, silver chest can just spawn there too instead. Yeah, so there's our upgrade to the Fibonacci Spritz. I think it goes inward instead. Yeah, it does. And it just has a chance to pop some of our extra weapons. So yeah, taking the pentagram into Gorgeous Moon, obviously, was a very, very smart idea on my part, which... It's rare that I have those anymore, but... It's nice when it happens, right? Excuse me. Ugh. I could feel it coming and I didn't know when it was going to happen. That's always great. Ooh, another free weapon for us. Soul Eater uses... Which one upgrades a Soul Eater? I think it's Anura. Also, look at all these frogs on the screen. Heck yeah. Come in here and pick up. Oh, I realize why I don't have the revive yet, because I forgot to get my... why I don't have my upgrade yet, yeah. I forgot to go get something. Leave the silver chest for now. My one brain cell decided to take an early vacation. You know, don't you hate it when that happens? Eesh. It's rough out here if you're an idiot like I am. Oh, yeah, so there seems to be a bit of an issue with the music that's added for the Balatro DLC. It just seems to die sometimes. I have no idea why. I don't believe I've encountered this with any of the other music in this game. If I'm wrong, then I'm incorrect. But it's very odd that that happens. Okay, where'd my purple chest go? Is it not time yet? It might not be time yet. No, it's gotta be, right? I get it before 24 minutes. Maybe the thing that drops it got lost in the shuffle and didn't get killed in time. There it is. Okay. So, yeah, and of course now we're gonna go and pick up all the literally everything else here. Right? Because... it wouldn't be the first time I've said anything that ridiculous. Let's be honest here. Which one was... oh yeah, Stone Mask to upgrade Rock Riot, right. I was like, which of these is important? And the answer eventually is just kind of all of them, but before that point... Yeah, I'll just take the upgrades to whatever we get at this point. There we go. Yeah, so... Our Union of the Anura and Soul Eater. These frogs might actually eat people. Heck yeah. Good for them. They're just having a good old time doing frog stuff. Like, eating people. Which is definitely a thing that frogs do in real life, I swear. If they're extremely large and hungry. Usually frogs don't get that large. So... it's not a thing many people know about as a result. I am at such a point, by the way, I know that, like, probably I should choose these a little bit more specifically, but we're just gonna gain levels very quickly at this point because of the sheer amount of stuff that's getting killed. So instead of me prioritizing specific items to level up, in order to just get out of these screens faster, because otherwise I could probably turn an entire 3-hour stream into one run. And who would enjoy that? That sound is having a time, all right. Granted, I know I say that, and I'm going for all the other items over here. They're like, hey, you want even more stuff in your inventory? And the answer is yes. Did I miss anything else here? Squints. I definitely missed one part of the clock tower. There it is. Wow, these things are in positions, all right. Map, scroll in, zoom in. I mean, I'm scrolling the scroll wheel, so it works, but... yeah, we do have some upgrades we can grab from these. Well, first of all, get my Torpor. I forgot about that entirely. I thought we had that already for some reason. Yes, the game sound is definitely, it's having a bit of an issue. It sounds away, all right. What if I just left those two candy boxes there? Oh, this has turned into a bit of a colorful, bit of a mess here. Yeah, I'm still missing the... Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm still missing the upgrade for the discus, because that item is actually here, so I know I got that. there's 3 of them out. Wow, I've been having, like, really sick luck with getting the... 4! There are just 4 candy boxes sitting up there. And if I really wanted to, I could have picked up other weapons, but hey. I'm fine with not getting the Reaper kill. That's not my favorite character out of those, although they did give him a really good weapon. So perhaps I should actually feed him some egg at some point. Let's take a look at our numbers for fun. Ooh, hey. Kind of surprised that got the most total damage, but I guess with the sheer amount of crits that it does, because it was probably doing a lot. I saw those lasers all the time when I could actually see anything. And unsurprisingly, the clock tower does like grotesque amounts of damage for itself, thanks to all of the hidden weapons there. And crazy-ass DPS considering, because I only had it for a very short time. Anyway, I will be right back, everybody. All right, apologies for the holdup. I am back. We got 2 more clowns to take a quick look at, and then we'll switch game. I mean, we should have time for at least 1 attempted run at Dead Estate, but we got Chico here. Chica, he's French. So. Huh? Orc? Oh. That's weird. I didn't hear anything. Huh. So, our buddy here has some pretty interesting mechanics, very much based on what he does in Balatro. I mean, he gets his free buff card to start with, but also reduces boss health and blocks some special attacks. So for those of you who don't remember, in Balatro, this guy would just remove any boss blind abilities at the start of a battle. Battle, I say. So I think that's neat. They did at least occasionally. Kanyo, I guess maybe this sort of links a little bit to his ability to scale with destroying face cards, just not entirely, because theoretically by skipping you're forestalling on your build a little bit, whereas with destroying face cards, theoretically that weakens your deck. Unless you just play to a strategy that doesn't use those. And he's coming with the banana. He's got the oh banana, which has a 1 in 6 chance to do something special. To go back here and talk about this real quick, that Kanyo's weapon is the Fibonacci Spritz, which is a combination of the Seltzer and Fibonacci Jokers. So it has the Fibonacci spiral visual, and it has the re-trigger effect on impact. Basically, similar idea anyway of activating weapons. And once it is fully upgraded, the number of weapons that it can re-trigger is numbers early in the Fibonacci sequence. So, yeah. Lastly, real quick before Perkeo. Perkeo can equip up to 100 passive weapons, which is really funny because there aren't even that many in the game. So, talk about future-proofing, right? But that kind of means that it's just like, hey, any armadillo, any cabinet you get, just grab that anyway. It's fair game. With the weapons sort of being a little bit more of a reference to Perkeo's ability as opposed to anything, because it's a celestial pack, a planet booster. And usually what you're going to do if you're building a Perkeo strategy involves building up to Observatory. Observatory is what the voucher is called. And just stack a bunch of planet cards for your best hand in there, because Perkeo will give you a freebie that is negative every time, and blah, blah, blah. I'm talking a little too much about this other game, about Balatro. So instead, we're going back in here. We're going to go and show off the antechamber again for the benefit of Mark here. And what do we start with? That would be a pretty good starter card, actually. Extra speed, gain might every level. I mean, I kind of just like that for the obvious reasons, because I do tend to build a little bit more for the long game, but I'll take this for the early cooldown reduction boost that we can get. Get our extra level of Outer Saboteur here. And yeah, we'll take that because that'll be very easy to evolve. Oh, hey, we don't even have to go looking for that. And by looking for that, I mean go buying it. Yeah, let's go ahead and upgrade our banana some more. Flames to Misspell, because we like to take Torona's box if we see it. So, not really a bad idea whatsoever. We got Fibonacci Spritz, so I'll take that. Just because the amount of mass pentagram spam, that won't cause us problems, surely. Ever. Except for the several times when it does. Don't worry, gang. This will never cause us problems, ever. Oh, wait. Thus solving the problem once and for all. But once and for all! And pick that up. Get us some... Yeah, take our crown. Oh, hey, a free weapon level. Not a silver chest, but that's fine. It probably would have gotten 8 if I buy the pentagram, if it was one, before I could actually pick it up because of the level of cook-off time that I'd be giving it. Yeah, see, like, what just happened to that wooden chest. Ah, yes, classic things going badly with pentagram. Oops. It's alright, these bananas are going nuts, though. Yeah, yep, they definitely, I'd have a follow-up to that. Although it does make me think of this one George Carlin bit where, like, he's just talking about strange things people say, and one thing he talks about people saying he was going apeshit, and then he follows it up with another thing he'll say is, that guy was bananas! And his response to this is, bananas is apeshit! Think about it! Okay, what am I... Oh, right. Torona's box is what I'm missing from this, which has just sort of decided to disappear. Yeah, there you go. That is probably a little more accurate, but listen. Or don't. As always, I don't know that I recommend anybody listen to me because... At least not on these streams. If I've committed it to a video that I've spent time editing, well, then it might actually make a little bit of sense. Sadly, no evolution there, but that's okay. Although I think it's kind of neat. They do give you one silver chest that early on in the map here. From like that minute 1 boss. Whereas that's not really very common elsewhere in the game. It would have been good if I decided to just sit on that and wait, but on the other hand, I just sort of probably decided, hey, yeah, it'll be fine anyway. I'll get enough easily. I mean, the rate this is going, though, in terms of our EXP gain, by the time another one shows up, I'll be able to get, like, any of my weapon evolutions, which is... I find that funny, anyway. Just, I'll be in that sort of position. Oh, whoops, everything is maxed out. Maybe I should have waited around for it, but... Again, knowing me and just immediately picking up that pentagram when I saw it, it probably would have disappeared by then. Actually, we'll find out in a second. Is this one silver? Yes, it is. So I was not quite correct because I believe for Ashes of Muspel, we need a level 9 Torona's box. Anyway, upgrade banana. Always crits, always explodes, and something else that I did not read in time, but those bananas... Ah, yes. Even more. Just look at them go. Now, as usual, we do what we always do with, like, every build in this. I've heard good things about the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. I just am usually a little too lazy to actually watch movies. Hold up a second. Yeah, Twitch only caught that message as a possible ban evader. It was a bot. I don't know if anybody saw that. It was a... It's one of the advertise pay-for-viewers bots, which... I'm pretty sure using those is a good way to get your Twitch account executed. So... Yeah, even if you are that desperate... Don't be an idiot, please. Or, I mean, I'm not any of your parents, so I can't really tell you what to do, but... Pick up some extra area. Oh, not quite enough for Demon Finger. Oh well. Yeah, I'm taking that, because... I don't think that scales up the requirements for higher ranks for Goldfinger. So if we ever get more of those, in theory, that'll be easier. Plus, I don't mind more enemies in this case, because we're just annihilating so many of them. And plus, that gives me more damage for Ashes over time. Right, candy box, and... I'm like, what the hell do I take? There's a myriad of options, really. You know what? We're taking the lightning ring again. Oh. Music died nice and early this time. Shit. Well, enjoy sound effects, guys. I don't know why it's just this music track that dies so easily. Maybe it is all the others and I just have never really noticed. Could be a newly introduced error. Some people have been saying that they've been having crashes with this game if the frame rate is not locked to 60 max. So, you know, look at me just throwing up question marks here. Some things could be a little bit janked at a lower level here, but I certainly don't know. Oh yeah, I really didn't take the empty tome that whole time, did I, huh? Wow. A strange choice that was on my part. Alright, well, let's go for it. Let's start taking the guns. Are any of these good? Not as much as I'd like. Ooh, bonus amount after defeating a set number of enemies. Let's go for it. Can't hardly complain about more shots with any of my weapons. There we go. We just need another Armadillo to show up so I can get the other item to finish the combo, but we'll figure that out when it shows up. I'm sure it will, probably. Or not, who knows. Game could just be like, nah, I don't feel like it. Oh, you know what? Actually, no. We'll take that instead. Because I know what'll happen if I don't do something like that. Yep, just the sheer amount of stuff going on here. There we go. Okay, so next time we get a silver chest, we'll be able to upgrade these. Thank goodness. Yeah, I know I knew I saw one in there somewhere. Sure, let's go with that. That sounds fun. Higher growth level. You know, just push the numbers on the Grim Reaper up even higher, because why not, really? Yeah, the magic wand does what it needs to. Oh, I could have taken Anura and been able to summon the frogs to eat people again. Oh well. Not my greatest plan ever. But that's just the way it goes. A lot of the time. Yeah, I was looking away for just a brief second there to set up the ability to multitask slightly, because, I mean, look at where we're at this point, right? And there's our 25-minute bosses, the big Crimson Heart. Area, we actually... Okay, we do have the one for area. I was like, wait a sec. This laser beam seemed kind of thin, but maybe I'm just imagining it, really. Uh-oh. Our frame rate is having a moment there. We're getting mauled a little bit by all the dudes here. There's a quite profound amount of guys, suddenly. Big Sonic Dash. Oh, I overshot that ring. Oh yeah, the game definitely does not like what I'm doing here. Well, to that I can say, tough luck. Did I miss that? I did miss it. Oops. seconds. Well, it's alright. This run's almost out of time anyway. Maybe things will go back to normal after the Reaper shows up and the regular enemies stop spawning. Would probably help. At least a little bit. There we go, yep. Well, we can finally get a little bit more music back here. And we can show off Perkeo as our last character here. And where am I gonna do this? I mean, Castlevania is usually a good bet. But let's go into the Mad Forest here, and I should probably try changing the music to see if I could get a track that wouldn't cut out. In fact, that's what I'm going to do real quick. Much as I love the Balatro remix, the fact that it cuts that easily, that seems a little bit worrying. There we go. Let's try this out. Okay, so just to remind myself of what's where here, because it has been a minute since I've been in a base game level. Sure, let's take Umbra. I can go for Luminatio afterwards, once I find it. Yeah, I'll pick up Sword Brothers, because we basically always do, really. It's just so useful. Bring garlic. Alright, yeah, so Lumina will come from the first candy box we get. And yes, I am perfectly content to go walk across this whole dang map for this one item. That. Stone Mask is not super important. There's not a lot of things that scale off of greed anyway, as far as I know. It's just your money output, and like I don't need that at this point. It would probably help my little Joker head a little bit, but I think I probably will be okay without. Probably. Just in terms of the amount of money that we'll gain. Sure, I'll take a Spellbinder, I guess. I don't think that actually helps with anything we have. Maybe the frogs. Yeah, I forget if there was a wings on this map. Oh well. Take the duplicator. Technically, I shouldn't have grabbed the Pomarola from an earlier level set. But that's okay. And also, right, I completely forgot about the fact that Perkeo's ability is, hey, you can equip literally as many passive weapons as you can find. And the reason why I forgot that is because, honestly, I usually just sort of end up there anyway. Just by virtue of the fact that Hail from the Future is such a strong starting item. Just... I usually have it crap out so many passive items that it's like, oh, well, I got most of the stuff I could possibly want. Alright, this guy's showing up a little early. Alright, yeah, we're gonna get Lumina from here. Natio. Oh, dang. Look at this massive quantity of stuff we're all getting all at once here. Heck yeah. Love it when that happens. Ooh, another candy box. So, I mean... How many times do I need to take Pentagram in a single day? I say trying to build Furaragi for the, like, 4th time. This entire session. Ouch, 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 ouch. I'm taking a lot of damage here, actually. Crap. So I'm trying to go through these crowds without getting annihilated, but nope. Oh well, good thing we still have that revive that's just sort of built into us at this point. Yeah, sure. Antonio, that could... Seems like some pretty good boosts. The extra max HP is feeling a little bit respectable at this moment. And here's where we start our reroll. Ooh, yeah, that's a pretty good one. Reducing the curse effects on us would be pretty handy right about now. I guess Perkeo also kind of fits in with the spirit of how Perkeo works in Balatro, because it is very much the idea of, like, here's a very, very powerful ability, but to make the best use of it, you need some good luck, and also it does not give you fuck or all as a immediate boost. Unless, again, you are very lucky, which... I mean, hey, wow. Something luck-based in Balatro, who could imagine? But then there's, like, another level to that, right? Of... There's luck-based, and then there's whatever the hell that has going on. I do at least want to stretch this run out enough to be able to show off the evolved version of the planet pack. What is it called? Celestial Booster or something? Oh, well, shit. I literally just walked into that guy as soon as I said that I wanted to show that off. Well... Not such a good idea. Oh well. Let's try this again. We probably don't even really need to go for any of this stuff in any of those areas, so just stay the course here in the middle and try to get a halfway decent item build going for ourselves. There we go, lightning ring. That's a good start. Oh yeah, turn our speed back up. It's like, wow, I feel so much slower now, and that's why, because of that. Trying to remember what gets a boost from having the upgraded Bible. And I think it's the, oh yeah, it's the Ice Brand, right. These are nothing good there. Eesh. Ooh, card. Reroll. Or something that gives us some boosts. Ah, yes, if I want to basically anchor myself in place, that's a great idea. Ooh, +1 reroll every level. That seems handy. That'll help us goose the numbers a little bit in order to find some of our goodies. Oh, that wasn't necessarily the best. Whatever, I'm sure we'll be able to get a way to put that to use at some point. It's just certainly not the item that I would have taken first. Oh well. Okay, it's not too early to get some weapon upgrades. As we get the Thunder Loop. What level is our Sword Brothers is only level 2. It'll be a while before we can get that upgrade. Especially because I don't know if a silver chest is going to spawn for a minute. Roll. I mean, that might still be doable. The big might bonus and the +4 armor are quite handy. This enemy spawn by 50. Yeah, you know what? We'll take the Ambrosia one here. Because it gives us some more access to permanent quantity, amount rather. And the magnet boost could be kind of useful. Like, okay, a bit of a shame that the other amount is going to go away reasonably fast, but it is a good burst as well, so that could be quite helpful. Ooh, all right. Let's get our garlic going now. It's still going to be however long before they let us start picking up more silver chests, I suppose. Usually 10 minutes. Yeah, fair enough. I think I was just a little bit thrown off because there's a couple that are a little bit off from that. There we go. Our first weapon upgrade other than the Thunder Loop from very early on. And perhaps it's not my preferred one, but it's still pretty good. And hey, immediately there's Crystal Cries after using our free reroll. Excellent. Now we should be in. In for the ridiculous bullshit. Cool. Yeah, it's not super useful. More amount and a free weapon in 80 levels. All right, count me in. Nice. Here's our first of those. I am going to leave that for a moment, the present box. And by a moment, I might mean a surprising amount of time, depending on how long it takes me to get the other stuff together here. Actually, maybe I should just pick it up now. But my optimization. The reasons for this are probably a little bit silly, but I could explain them anyway. The short version of it is that because all of those upgrade weapons are unions, my idea was going to be to get Anura upgraded and then the things that upgrade from Labora and Unholy Vespers, and then use that to pick up another weapon, which, again, just really pushing the limits of, I'd say, good taste, but I don't know if anything on this stream counts as that. Because you can keep accessing the librarian's shop throughout the run multiple times, unlike the other guy. Big Trouser, yeah, that's his name. I was like, I blanked for a moment. Oops. Large pant. Visually, it doesn't look like the Unholy Vesper symbols are moving anymore. That's great. Negative space. There's our upgrade for the planet booster. Add some more planets, and sometimes our planets go negative, which does something. It's just not the way that it would in Balatro, unsurprisingly. It might just be purely visual, for all I know. I forget. Yeah, see, we can't pick up any of this stuff yet, but once we start picking up the other evolutions, we need, like, what? 3 more silver chests to get all of those weapon evolutions? We can pick up the Ice Brand to go with, not Labora. That goes with the Unholy Vespers. And Hydro Storm is the one that goes with Labora. But yeah, as you can tell, we need multiple things to be able to even get those evolved vanilla weapons. Right. Spawn light sources after gaining a set amount of gold. That Well, I guess, hey, randomized bonus, right? Reroll. That will do for us. See, after a time, the character cards do end up coming in handy pretty noticeably. Also, I done kind of screwed up there, and I picked up a weapon that I forgot was going to be coming to me, so that thing I was saying before about efficiency, it is all out the window. We're just gonna go this way, and we're gonna go pick up the... We're gonna pick up the Hydro Storm, I think, because that one ends up being a little better than the other. I mean, all of them are pretty good, and you sure would like to hope they would be. But, yeah, I think a little better, just from the screen wipe effect and it being as frequent as it is. Music died. Oops. He's pointing it out every time because, well... Oh yeah, that's definitely a good idea to have something like that set up, because, yeah, the sheer amount of the ridiculous spam bots, there's kind of a lot of them. Hey, look, another... See, now we're getting a bunch of these. And... I need to think this through real quick. What... Oh, I probably should have just looked at the chart. I guess it would help me. Oh, well. This Farog statue is usually a pretty good one, so let's do that. Open Grimoire and go to... They're probably in the last-ish page here. Oh, so I could have done that one pretty easily. Yeah, that one was Valkyrie Turner. I wasn't sure if it was that or the Fire Wand or what. Because I forgot already. That's fine. If we actually have that come up, then I'll do that. That might be a big if, though. Yeah, I don't necessarily need the chest. There is technically, however, a chance that it could have a candy box or the level 2, I think, but still. Yeah, I've never particularly looked at them for reasons that are unsurprising. So, I can't completely speak on that, but yeah, that's... It's choice, alright. Yeah, I would just want to clean this up, because it's got nothing. No reason to have that anymore. I think our sound effects are having some weird issues with some of the stuff we're doing here. Ninth circle, there we go. Yeah, we got ourselves a nice area of swords and stuff. Yeah, I don't really need a whole lot else, so we'll just take Game Killer, because it's funny. Oh, well, I already have enough of those, so... No music and just ridiculously screwed up sound effects. We've hit a fun point, everybody. Yep, this is it. This is peak video gamings. The peak of playing the video game as I've taken my hands off the controls. Oops. It's okay, it's because I'm too busy chuckling. I feel like there's a surprising amount of people who don't like this game for the amount of this that goes on. But I mean, the same also kind of applies to a lot of how people feel about Balatro, and it's like, guys, there is a place for just video games that are just fun to play. Because a lot of them also, I say that specifically because a lot of them are also just like very much the kind of story snob people, and I get that. I also literally I do things about video game story elsewhere on the internets, blah blah blah, you know, on YouTube, etc. But again, there's a place for just have fun once in a while sort of thing. Yeah, yeah, faster. Yeah, it's definitely a thing that can be a little bit overbearing in that regard. Because yeah, you can definitely make some builds that will make your eyes hurt. I will say that too, because on top of everything else, but that's a little bit different of just that's a personal preference, as opposed to being like, oh well, this is the. And yes, I did just pick something that gives me a weapon after levels, even though I don't gain levels anymore. I don't know why I chose that either, but I could be picking up the Ambrogio cards, couldn't I? Oh, whatever. Run's almost over. Listen, I just think that a lot of people have very bad takes about video games in general. Really. Being perfectly honest about it. I'll be the person who's arrogant enough to be like, yeah, I'm the one who has good takes. And well, both those are true in both directions. The thing is that the existence of something like this that you might regard as being like junk food gaming, with big air quotes, doesn't negate the existence of all of the other like high art, intense story kind of stuff. And that's been true of every medium for basically all of eternity. It's like people took the reported version of the thing that Martin Scorsese said about Marvel movies, and they decided to turn that idea into just being their entire personality, except applying it to video games, which, you know, I don't personally know Scorsese and I don't know what he feels about video games, but there's this thing in the back of my head that's going, I bet he thinks that about video games as an entire medium too. Everyone wants to be a Roger Ebert. Yeah, pretty much. Also, act surprised, but Game Killer became our biggest numbers maker for both damage and DPS. 1.7 mil. Hot damn.